It's going to be the lower blade guide, and I'm going to show you what I kind of got in mind here. I need to get high. I need to get up, and so I think I'm going to make a multiple piece. So I need to get off of this almost 3/4 of an inch, and then it'll get me above that. So this is kind of what I have in mind. I've got this piece of brass here, and I've drawn a line across it, and I'll measure the distances between here and trace them into here. And then I'm going to be using 5/16 bolts, and I might have to drill these out a little bit, but I'm going to be using 5/16 bolts here. And then on top of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this block here. Now, and I don't know, probably get this, whatever. We'll have some scrap. We'll cut off some scrap. And then I have these two bearings. They're a little bit bigger than the top bearings, but they're going to work. These two will be the left and right one. And I'm going to duplicate, let me move you up here, duplicate these. And I'll probably make these out of brass because I just have a bunch of brass. Put the slot in there. So then, the next kind of thing to do after that, I'll see where all my holes come in. And let me go grab another piece and I'll be right back. Okay, so after I'm back and I get this done and I get these two kind of where I want them, and then I'll over drill these holes so I have adjustment like this and like this. So I know I'm going to have bolts coming through here and here. And so I'll have to, worst case, bring it over here, but maybe I can get it here and get a back bearing using the same kind of eccentric for the back bearing. And then I'll clean it up and make it smaller and tighter. But anyway, that's the kind of the vision I have for the lower bearing. So I'll start by drilling these holes and making sure they line up with these holes. And then affixing to this, I didn't quite know if maybe I'll just mount this and then put two drill holes here, because then that would give me, kind of two places to make an adjustment. I could just slot this kind of left and right and I'd have a little bit of adjustment there. And the same with here. If I slot them, I'd have a little rotational adjustment. So more rotational here and kind of more left and rightish here is kind of what I was thinking for the adjustments. Okay, so I'll move on over to the mill and I'll drill the initial holes for the brass piece right here. Okay, so I decided to go with a 1/4 inch instead of the 5/16. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I've got this tip in here just to kind of help define where the tip of the drill is going to go in, and I'll just mark it a little bit. And I'll come back and I'll put the 1/4 inch drill in. Okay, I'm already seeing I'm not perfectly on the center, but because this is just a block, it'll be okay. Not real precision there. Okay, so we're going to try to go ahead and test fit this. We'll get some 1/4-20 bolts, and we'll just kind of test fit it there in the saw. Okay, I've got my 1/4-20 bolts here, and yeah, that one's not. There we go. Just had some stuff in there. Oh, and the bolts are going down and hitting on the inside there. But that will give me just a little bit of play there for rotating left and right. And bring it down and get my holes aligned again. I don't feel that dragging at all. Okay, so now I'm going to measure how wide that head is. So I got the calipers out, and approximately 0.370 inches. Okay, so I got shorter bolts now. We'll go ahead and put those in there. And so I can get to those screws there, and then I can tighten that down, and that will be my spacer. And I am going to machine that down straight again too. And there is maybe a few degrees of play, but if I go ahead and I open these holes up just a little bit more, I'll get a few more degrees of play. And then on this, my intent is to go ahead and slot. I'm going to go ahead and slot this so I can move it left and right, but that slot will also give me some degrees of play as well. Anyway, so I'm going to start by cutting this edge off here with the other bandsaw, and then I'll kind of find out how much of this that I want, and I'll cut off the other edge. I got that in the vise, and I got it set up, and we'll go ahead and cut it now. Okay, so now I have the aluminum cut. Just the one side, that is. I'm going to kind of try to size up where I'm going to want to cut the other edge of this block. And come to think how close this is, I might mill a flat spot here too. So while I'm waiting for the the aluminum to cut over there, I'm going to go ahead and drill 2 holes here and tap those out 1/4 So I'll pull this off, and I'm going to take this part over to the mill. Well, I'll draw my lines out first, and then I'll take this over to the mill. Okay, here we go. And given the how out of line this is, I'm going to have to sink these holes down just a little bit deeper. Okay, we've got just a little bit more to take off now here, and I'm pretty sure now that I've machined this down, the bolts will not go down deep enough, so I'm going to have to remachine those holes. But let's just check and take a look, see how far off we are. Well, that one is still below. Turned up sideways, you can you can see that it's not sticking above. Let's check this one here. Now that one is above, you can see, and we'll need to drill that one out. And so I've tapped these, and the holes have got 1-inch centers on it. Did a little bit better on that than I did, say, the other 2 holes. But, yep. So then those are tapped out to hold the piece of aluminum now. And see, this will fit on there. And so now, and then we'll put some slots on the face. This is what we'll put out. That's not the right bearing, but we'll put the bearings here and here. And then in some way, I'll have to put a vertical up to hold the bearing that sits behind the blade.
And here's a bunch of seams that I filmed, kind of laying it out. And watching the video didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, so I'm just going to kind of go fast forward through it. I really wish this slot would have turned out a little bit better, but it is usable. And here in a second I'll give you some finished shots. Now this is the upper, this is the one that came, from the factory, and notice the slots and the bolts there. Here I recreated that with brass. Now these bearings are slightly larger, and I still need to make allowances for the back bearing, and also I need to make an allowance for a table. How about a thumbs up, guys, and thanks for watching.